Hi everyone, we are from Syndicate Group 6. Here is our presentation, Scenario Planning for PT Wartsila, Indonesia. Our group member is Asandi, Batasha, Baskara, Mastendi, and Jitra, and me myself, Yang Chuan. Here is our content of our presentation. It is consisted of 6 parts. The first one is introduction, the second is business model, and the third is problem statement. Next is uncertainty mapping and causal loop diagram. The last one is scenario planning. And here is the introduction about Wartsila. Wartsila is a global leader in smart technology and complete lifecycle solution for the marine and energy markets. By emphasizing sustainable innovation, total investing, and data analytic, Wartsila maximize the environmental and economic performance of the vessels and power plants of its customers. In 2020, Wartsila's net sales total is 4.6 billion euro with approximately 18,000 employees. The company has operations in over 200 locations in more than 70 countries around the world. Wartsila is listed in Nasdaq Helsinki. Wartsila's main product is diesel and gas engine that is used for marine and power plant. Here is the company business model of Wartsila. We input our innovation, data, and financial resources, manufacturing service, and the relationships, natural resources in marine industry, energy industry to give service solution, equipment, and solution. And we our output is smart technology, optimized life cycle performance, and small energy solutions, smart marine ecosystem contribution to reduce the emission, carbon emission and waste, to make a sustainable society. And here is our the company's strategy. Wartsila is aware of the importance of energy transition, powering the world in sustainable way and emission to a 100 renewable energy future. In response to that, the company has developed market-leading technologies consisting of future fuels, sustainable balancing, power plant, hybrid solution, energy storage, and optimization technology. And here is one of our products, the future fuels. We use renewable electricity from wind or solar to extract the hydrogen from water, and then we extract CO2 from air to combine with the hydrogen to make the future fuels power X. This product can produce the methanol or ammonia, and the future fuels can directly used by the engine for power plant and ship, car, airplane.
Now, after we present about Wartsila Corporation on global, now we are going to PT Wartsila Indonesia. PT Wartsila Indonesia is a subsidiary of Wartsila Corporation in Finland that focus on the energy and marine markets by bringing product, solution, and services with complete lifecycle power solution in Indonesia. Until now, the total electrical power of the machine that have been sold is more than about 2.3 gigawatts installed and distributed in generating machine and shipped in Indonesia. Main business of the PT Wartsila Indonesia is on the selling spare parts, services, and also provide long-term agreements to operate and maintain the power plant. The scope or area of the PT Wartsila Indonesia is not only in Indonesia, but also in Timor-Leste. Today, PT Wartsila Indonesia had penetrated the market for dual fuel engine, but the size of market for 100 biodiesel and gas engine are dependent two scenario condition in the future. After we know about the Wartsila Corporation and Wartsila Indonesia, in this presentation, the problem statement is how the aligning with Wartsila global response toward the energy transition by providing low carbon technology. And for Wartsila Indonesia, how should Wartsila Indonesia push its energy transition goals for Indonesian market on the scope of technology development for the energy transition in Indonesia, with the time period is 6 years on the 2027 on the post-pandemic COVID-19. The first thing that we do is we determine the uncertainty thing for the scenario. We have three types, the uncertainty things. The first is organizational, transactional, and the contextual. For organizational, first is about the company vision on the 100 energy transition, and then the people capability, financial capability, management decision, R&D, and the cost efficiency. And the second type is transactional. It's about the customer, supplier, and also the competitor. And the third type is the contextual. We analyze it with the approachment of the pastel. We have 6 uncertainty things for the contextual. The first is the GOI, or Government of Indonesia policies on the energy transition, the technology advancement for the transition, COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, resource availability, and the economic situation. And then based on all of the uncertainty things, we analyze and decided two things, the government of policy of energy transition and the COVID-19 pandemic are the most influence factor or key driving to make the scenario on 20 or 27 on the post-pandemic condition in Indonesia. Okay, now we have the looping system. And now I will show you how the government of Indonesia responsiveness and the trend of pandemic give a big influence to the transition energy and go to the 100 renewable energy. These are manufactured in here. You can see in the middle is the government of Indonesia responsiveness, and then the trend of pandemic, the economic trend, the renewable energy technology, R&D, cost of renewable energy, cost of fossil energy, and the campaign of renewable energy. But the point is, all of the factor will go to government of Indonesia responsiveness. Why? Because it's about government of Indonesia want to do the transition energy or no. That's why the government of Indonesia responsiveness is very important. And then what a factor that influence or drive the government to do the transition energy? The first is the cost of fossil energy. If the cost of fossil energy better than the renewable energy, the government of Indonesia will tend to choose the fossil energy and stay on the status quo. So the cost of the technology is very important. In other case, if the cost of renewable energy is better than the fossil energy, we believe that the government of Indonesia will tend to choose the renewable energy. So what makes the cost of renewable energy will be better than the fossil energy? It's about the R&D. And the R&D itself need the response of the government of Indonesia. If the R&D of renewable energy increase, it will be impact to the readiness of the renewable energy technology, and also the cost of the renewable energy will be better than the fossil energy. And the last, the government will tend to choose the renewable energy, and the transition energy will happen. But another point is, all of the scenario will be nothing if the trend of pandemic increase. It can be pandemic globally, or maybe just endemic in Indonesia. If the trend of pandemic increase, it will be impact to the economic trend and it can be great recession for Indonesia. So we believe that the government of Indonesia tend to stay on the status quo to choose the fossil energy. Why? Because when we want to do the transition energy, we need the money and we need the high investment. So with the worst condition on the economic trend, we believe that the government tend to choose the fossil energy, support the fossil energy, and it will make the cost of the fossil energy better than renewable energy, and the transition energy will not happen. And the worst scenario on the long run is the climate change will happen, and also it will be impact also to the economic trend of Indonesia. So by on this description or explanation, we choose that the government of Indonesia responsiveness and the trend of pandemic is the main key driver to make a scenario on 2027 on the energy transition in Indonesia on the post-pandemic condition.
Moving on to the scenario creation. So after we determined two critical uncertainties, which are the government response and epidemic situation, we create those two uncertainties into the 2x2 matrix. So here in the x-axis, we have the government response toward the energy transition, with the scenario where the government is really concerned about the transition, and the other one will be if the government is indifferent about the energy transition. On the y-axis, we have the epidemic situation. As we talked earlier, that the pandemic might be over, but for the COVID virus itself might be still lingering, creating the epidemic situation. And in this case, the scenario that we have is going to be whether or not epidemic situation can be controlled. And for this scenario, we're going to be using the terms that we usually hear in the war. So there, in the next couple of slides, we're going to be hearing about missile launcher, pigeon army, parachute troops landing on the wrong side, and the World War. So yeah, the first one would be the missile launcher. So in the missile launcher, we look at the missile launcher as the equipment that is able to launch our weapon very quick and meet or hitting the target pretty correctly or precisely. And in this situation as well, the condition of missile launcher itself, we look at the missile launcher as the equipment that has a good system that works well. And in this case, for the scenario, we have the government response, which be able to control the epidemic really well, resulting in the economy recovery. And when there is economy recovery, there also the implication of the increase in energy needs. And in order to fulfill the more demand in energy mix, government in this case really aware of that and incorporating renewable energy as a tool to meet the demand of the energy, first one, and then the other one to boost the economy as well. And in this scenario, we're going to be looking at a lot of policies created, campaign, and also education. And Indonesia starts to transitioning to renewable and integrating fossil fuel with low carbon technology. So what are the early warnings for this? The first one would be the incorporation of energy mix. As we know that in RUPPL, there is a plan that it's going to be the incorporation of energy mix for about 23% by 2025. Another one will be carbon capture paired with the fossil fuel operation. And there will be also news that we recently heard about the carbon tax and economic growth that we've been experiencing, where Indonesia just fresh out of the recession, and the emerging combined power plant between fossil fuel energy and renewable energy, And then another one will be the 50% biodiesel content by 2025. And another one will be the involvement of Indonesia in Paris Agreement, which is a good thing. And the last one will be the reduction of number of COVID cases, implying that the ability of the government to contain these viruses through its plan of vaccination rollout and the prevention of the spread of the viruses itself. So in terms of the key driving factors, definitely policies for the epidemic, and then the policies for green energy. Another one will be price of RE, and then reliability and availability of the renewable energy itself. And on top of that, one of the most important things is the technology itself. The availability of technology that supports the reliability of the available resource is really important in this case. And another one will be the key actors. So the key actors will be Indonesian government, definitely. And then the other one will be energy company, in this case, businesses, investors. And the most important one is Indonesian people, really, because their ability or their adaptability in this situation, in the epidemic situation, would determine how Indonesian future is gonna look like, especially in this transition, which is also correlated to the economic situation. And what are the consequences for Wartsila? We were thinking that there will be higher demand for dual fuel engine, and also emerging competitor in this case, because new business for dual engine will be much higher when this scenario is coming to reality. And another one will be, what are the opportunities for us? Definitely, we keep doing what we're doing, as explained before in the earlier slide. And on top of that, we're developing energy efficient product, and then increase penetration to the new market, and then probably increase the local content by having assembly facilities possibly. And another one will be engine retrofit for customer existing diesel fuel, which is turning the diesel fuel into more low carbon technology.
The second scenario is world war. We consider the integrated problem in implementing and controlling of energy transition to renewable energy from fossil fuel. In world war scenario shows that it is a world war. Politics, economic, environment, and social are going worse. The situation accelerates the climate change, and global situation will be world war. From the uncertainty mapping, government of Indonesia has very vital role for the economic bounce back. But in this situation, lack of response and controls the pandemic well, and the end economic recovery worse. Government Indonesia is not able to control and accelerate preventive action for taking the spread of COVID due to mutation involvement of the virus, indicating inability of Indonesia to adapt with the epidemic. Long-term mobility restriction is still imposed as reactive response. As a result, the economic condition hasn't gone back to the situation before the epidemic, meaning the need energy is also reduced. In this difficult situation, government doesn't look renewable energy investment as a promising action to support the economy recovery, creating no energy transition at all. In corresponding to low energy transition, there are some early signs that we underline. Number one, increased number of virus variants. Number two, no policy provided to support energy transition. Number three, high dependency on existing coal and oil production. Number four, great economic recession happens. Number five, coal power plant to accommodate the energy needs in electricity still running well. And then the number 6 is worse health and social condition that is caused by epidemic recurring in the middle of the year. Factors are key driving in this scenario, such as Indonesia government policies for epidemic, Indonesian government policies for green energy, price of renewable energy and fossil fuel energy, human consumer behavior, reliability of renewable energy and fossil fuel energy, and the last is political interests. And government of Indonesia, energy companies, and Indonesian are key factors in this scenario. And we look at deeper the consequences to user that there is no demand for new Wartsila engine and disruption of supply chain of product or spare parts and maybe maintenance operations. And then there are several opportunities exist in this scenario. Number 1, focus on after-sales service businesses. Number 2 is focus on spare parts selling. Number 3, aligning the activities with needs of the clients. Number 4, improvement on stocking strategy of the spare parts.
Okay, now we are going to the third scenario. We call it the pigeon army. In this scenario, we are in the situation like using a pigeon army to deliver a message. In conveying a message, of course, a pigeon will take a longer time than if we use a telephone or other technologies to deliver an information. But even though it takes a long time to complete the mission, in this case to convey the message, it still can be accomplished and the message can be delivered properly. The scenario we are described through this parable is the situation at the bottom right side in the scenario creation. This is the condition where the government of Indonesia is very concerned with the energy transition towards renewable energy. The government of Indonesia strongly supports the use of renewable energy, but unfortunately the pandemic condition has become very, very uncontrollable and even become an epidemic in Indonesian society by 2027. PT Wartsila Indonesia in this scenario is described as being able to achieve its mission of becoming a company that implements energy transition. However, it takes a long time because it has to deal with the epidemic situation that become deteriorate. There is an endless restriction in mobilization. In addition, although the government really wants to implement green energy in the industry, the progress in infrastructure development is very slow. And what are the early warnings that we need to pay attention, which indicate we are in this scenario? The first is government provides incentives for renewable technology. If this condition occurs, it means that we have support from the government of Indonesia to develop renewable energy. It might be incentives provided by the government, such as the government providing a number of tax incentives for goods or for engine which use renewable energy. The second one is a low investment for renewable key players or businesses due to epidemic condition. With this terrible situation of the pandemic that has become an epidemic, the investment in renewable energy will not develop, because in order to achieve energy transition, we will need a huge cost as well as the technology. There is still need a lot of money that needs to develop technology for renewable energy. And the third is slow progress of renewable energy project. Of course, with less investment in renewable energy, the progress of renewable energy project will also be very slow and tend to be stagnant. And what are the driving factors in this scenario? The driving factors are GOI policy for epidemic. It will determine how the government responds to the worsening epidemic condition. GOI policy for green energy. This indicates whether or not the government is concerned about energy transition and renewable energy. And the last is reliability and availability of renewable energy and fossil energy. The key actors who play a role in this scenario are GOI, Indonesian people, international organizations, and investors. And what are the consequences? With the situation in this scenario, there will be a low demand for dual fuel engines, diesel or biodiesel and gas engines. And definitely there will be a lot of disruption in the supply chain. What are the options or opportunities that Wartsila Indonesia might do? First is Wartsila Indonesia could set up a financial scheme to increase engine sales. This is very important to do because of the epidemic condition. So Wartsila Indonesia needs to make a financial strategy in order to increase engine sales. For example, it can be done with interest-free installments, or probably can implement a consignment system so that it can save cost service and can focus on improving the quality of engines. The second one is increase the competitive advantages. PT Wartsila could escalate the competitive advantages itself because in this case, Wartsila Indonesia has received fully support from the government to sell dual engine products. But the problem lies in the condition of people who are still in epidemic condition. And the last is improvement on stocking strategy for products. This also can be done by Wartsila Indonesia to secure their stock, especially for the maintenance and service of dual engines that are going to be marketed. And the next slide will be presented by Mas Baskara.
The last scenario is parachute troops landing in the wrong side. In this scenario, the condition is like parachute troop landing in the wrong side. The armies will go down very slow, but there is possibility that it will catch the wrong wind direction. The meaning of this scenario is the epidemic situation can be controlled, economic situation is getting better as the business as usual can be resumed with effective preventive measure or protocol. It makes the adaptability of people towards the epidemic situation brings back the needs for higher energy consumption. However, government doesn't take this opportunity to make concern with the importance of energy transition and incorporate of renewable in energy mix to provide the escalation in energy, even though the technology are readily available. Gradually, the energy transition will fail that as there is no will from government, and as a result, the nation will still harness fossil fuel as the primary energy. The early warning for this scenario is, first, vaccines are widely distributed, so people can make activity like pre-pandemic situation. Second, improvement in economic condition. Due there is no recession, business begin to flourish, and there is a improvement in economy. Third, fossil energy business is controlled by politic actors. Due to increase of energy demand, it makes opportunity for political actor who has business in fossil energy such as coal, oil, and gas. Fourth, very low investment interest for energy transition. This can be happen due to no policy from government that encourage investor to have interest in renewable energy project. less high development on fossil power plant. So instead of new project for renewable energy, it's growing. The market that grow is development on fossil power plants such as coal, oil, and gas. The driving factor for this scenario is government policy for epidemic, government policy for green energy. This kind of policy that makes people tend to awareness of people tend to make green energy less interest. Then price of renewable and fossil energy, reliability and availability of renewable energy and fossil energy. When these two kind of energy has gap between price and reliability, it makes the one who has better factor become more available in the market. And the last is political interest. Key actor for this scenario is global government, people awareness, and politic actor. Consequences to user. For Wartsila, it will make very low demand for its dual fuel engine, which fuel use diesel or biodiesel and gas engine, and it will increase demand for conventional diesel engine. In this scenario, the opportunities for Wartsila is focus on diesel engine market, then focus on after sales business and spare part market, providing improvement in product of efficiency and longevity for diesel market, which will consume less fuel, and pursue the operational excellence for its kind of engine. This is the end of our presentation from Syndicate Group 6. We hope this kind of information can be any use for our viewers and especially for Wartsila. Thank you.